Has it ever happened to you that you come to an exam and it just doesn't make sense? The scenario looks very strange. You have never seen anything like it. The questions, well, you don't even understand what is being asked. Or the question is fully based on the part of the theory that you completely missed during your preparation, either because you didn't have enough time or because you just happens. What should we do? We need to apply a series of techniques that is called dealing with the unknown. And why am I competent to tell you about that? Well, first, when I was a kid, I would be a prize winner in National Mathematics Olympiads. And in there, despite the fact that you need to learn different tools, still when you come to that very event, the questions are completely new. So it's not like you ask what are the most typical questions, topics that will be tested. No, you are dealing with the unknown. So we have been taught how to do that. I myself took and passed 3 exams, APM, AFM and SBR, during a single sitting while working overtime. And on top of that, I have been teaching ACCA for over a decade. And I've had groups with the 100% pass rate or with the pass rates that are close to that. So I know a fair share of how to teach people not to be afraid of these scenarios that are coming. First of all, I would like you to actually go and do this very important mental exercise. Take past papers for 5 to 7 years and rank them 1 to 3, whether they were very easy, okay, or super hard. Then go to the ACCA website, look at the pass rates, and compare your grades with the pass rates. First of all, the pass rates never change significantly. So it's not like, let's say, for SBR, we usually have something around 50%, and this year it was 60% because the exam was very easy, or 40% because the exam was very hard. No, it doesn't happen. So what does it mean? It means that even if you have a harder version of the exam, your chance of passing is the same. So for example, if this is an SBR exam and you were that lucky one that got, let's say, cryptocurrencies, financial instrument, IFRS S2, and so on, you have still the same chance of passing as a person who sat the exam and would get property, plant, equipment, intangible assets, impairment, and provisions. So stop panicking and start answering the question. First of all, apply the 5 fingers technique. That is the most important technique for your exams. I'm going to make a link down below. Then make sure that you understand the requirement. We need to understand the requirement very well because quite often the requirement that seems to be unmanageable, let's say 16 marks, is actually a set of requirements. So for example, if your question is calculate and discuss, this means that part of the marks will be given only for the calculations, for the mathematics, and the other part is going to be given for the discussion. So this means that not only you need to provide numbers, you need to provide your opinions, and even if you have no idea how to calculate something, that is okay. You still can earn high marks. Then make sure that you are very vigilant towards the words and. Because and actually talks about different ideas and different questions. So, for example, explain in what amount the provision should be recognized and what disclosures should be made. We have and in here, so this means that we need to talk about the provision and the amount, and then talk about the disclosures. Then go through the scenario and start with the low-hanging fruit. Start with something that you do know. For example, when I took these 3 professional papers, of course, I was not 100% ready for each and every of them. And with the AFM, I couldn't really understand what was asked in the question 1, which was for 50 marks. But then, look, we have beta. Beta means that I can use capital asset pricing model. That is what I'm going to do. Okay, I have this number. That is what I can do. So look for something that does make sense. If you can give a definition, give a definition. If you see that there is some inconsistency, talk about inconsistency. If there is a red flag, something that puzzles you, talk about it. So for example, if a company has low cash reserves, then they might be willing to manipulate with the gearing in order to get bank finance. Talk about it. That is important. Then try to make sure that you pay attention to the clues. So for example, if we have somebody else's opinion, like a director says that all stakeholders' views should be taken into account, talk about it. Say on one hand they are right and explain why they are right, and then talk about why they are wrong, explaining. And here is another very important thing for you to remember. Regardless of whatever you get, your technique should stay the same. Your sentences should be full. Your sentences should have the logical argument. Your sentences should be of the same quality. So for example, you still cannot use words such as and, such as or, which we have been discussing quite a while. It also means that you need to pay attention to your mark efficiency. So when we are getting ready for the exam, we learn how to get a mark with each and every 2 lines of your discussion. So if you get this skill, and I pay attention a lot to make sure that my students write only whatever is needed to be written, write only whatever is relevant to the scenario, use the scenario, and as such, if you have mastered this very technique, then everything is fine. It's just go as a robot. So for example, as if you were cleaning a room, you do understand that if you do at least something, in an hour, the room is going to become cleaner. Maybe not ideally clean, but still cleaner. The same idea is in here. You have 3 hours. If your mark efficiency technique works well, then you will nail it. A very important idea to remember is that you are not the only one. So for some of the papers, we have a single variant. Everybody got it. Everybody is struggling. You don't need to be the fastest horse. You need to be the horse that is faster than 50% of those that are going to fail the exam. So you need to remember those techniques because you need to be better than those that don't. And even if we have the hardest exam ever, the pass rate is going to be the same. So it's just about you being more strong-willed than the others. When we're talking about the preparation, make sure that you prepare for the unknown. So for example, when I teach SBR, we start with the conceptual framework and we start with a question when we discuss why internally generated brand should not be recognized according to the conceptual framework. And not according to IS-38, intangible assets, no, according to the conceptual framework. And that is unusual. That is not something that is going to be tested with 100% chance, but that teaches people from the start that questions can be very different, they can be very unknown, and I teach them this very technique of dealing with the unknown from day one. So if you are in my SBR course, pay attention to that very video. Pay attention to how I challenge the scenario and what tricks I use. If you are looking for a learning provider, make sure that when they challenge the past papers, they don't just give you the model answer. Model answer is irrelevant. What is relevant is the ability to read the scenario and understand how each and every sentence, how each and every word impacts the answer. So, for example, years ago, when I had just kind of like introduction sessions for potential takers of some exams, I would say, okay, you have no idea about this very topic. Let me show you how, even without any idea, you can still earn marks and you can earn 50% of marks. Not for every question. Of course, you can't apply hedging if you don't know how to calculate. But as for discursive questions, the answer is quite often in the scenario itself. So this means that if you have practiced enough of reading the scenario and answering based on whatever the scenario says, then you will be fine. That's why for some of the exams, I pay great attention explaining why this piece of information is relevant and what does it mean, what is the red flag. So for example, if you have something concerned with the previous year, this is IS 8, basis for preparation. If you have something that gives us the next year, the following year, it's IS 10, events after the reporting period, and so on. So to sum up, even if you got the variant that seems to be hard, it's not the end of the world. And while preparing for the exam, your goal is to deal with the unknown, to get this skill. If you are my student, if you have my SBR course, that is what we do in each and every practice question. So you will be fine. If you are not, we all come from different environments. If you can't afford it, if you don't want for some reason, and so on, pay attention to the videos, to the carousels that I publish, because there I teach lots of techniques for free that can be of some use to you. And good luck with your exam. And remember, ACCA is hard, and failing the exam does not mean that there is something wrong with you, because you are competing among the best. So yes, sometimes people do fail, sometimes things happen. But if you know the techniques, you can gradually improve your chances of passing and getting qualified sooner. So good luck, and I will see you next. Bye, my name is Lilia Kirilenka, and please follow the link below to look at my SBR course or contact me for private lessons. Bye.